Hello, everybody, and welcome to another round of Ready to Amplify interview series with amazing women who are sharing insights and secrets and stories behind the scenes of amplifying their business, their decisions, their asks, and their lives. I'm excited to announce I have Laura Wright here. To my right. Hello, Laura.
It's so good to see you here.
Good to see
I can hear myself.
Okay. There's an echo. That happens sometimes. Shoot, how do we do that? I wonder if Sarah can hear us. She says she can hear us, but
I can make do.
Okay, hang in there. I know sometimes I have to, you know what I could possibly do is plug in my headphones and see if that helps.
Sounds great.
We have the missing headphones, but I'm going to try these ugly ones.
I think we'll be okay. Actually, you know what? I don't even hear myself anymore. So maybe it was just the start. Ooh.
Okay, that happens sometimes. And occasionally I was closing down the Facebook page. So that's good.
So this is real life. We better show it being real. It is real. It's all good.
I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. So we're going to get, jump right in here. I wanted to introduce Laura. Laura was a mentor of mine. I worked with her a couple years back, which we said was like 27 years ago in entrepreneur years. And I love that. And she has over 2 decades of experience in sales and helping many different types of businesses grow and prosper. And what's really interesting is helping about 4,800 artists sell tens of thousands of work, selling and filling multi-million-dollar events, turning over 6-figure profits on repeat in real estate, and more recently growing her clients' businesses from $250K to over $1 million in revenue over a course of 2 years, which is incredible. She's all about taking epic leaps. And what I love is that for a long time, Laura worked behind the scenes in sales and recently emerged about 4 or 5 years ago, just like as her own, like leader and her own brand and really stepping out from behind the scenes. So that's all about amplifying. I think we should start there. What was that like to finally be like, okay, I'm doing this successfully for everyone else. Now it's my turn to, we're kind of talking like Lady Gaga, right? Like Lady Gaga was doing all the songwriting behind the scenes, and then she finally came out.
I love that. That makes me so happy. Okay, so I remember what really happened was that I actually got in a lot of pain before I chose to leave. So my background is I ran this really successful multi-7-figure real estate business. And of course, in the States, we had 2008 and that rippled across the whole entire globe. And I lost everything, like massive debt, massive everything. And so it knocked down my spirit. And so I went behind the scenes and started helping everybody else sell. And I did that for a couple of years. And then the pain portion came in, which caused me to change. I realized I could only help about 1 or 2 clients at a time because I was doing high ticket sales and it's just the volume. You can't do a ton. Yeah. And then I had a month where I sold about $85,000 worth of stuff for one client, including filling a live event that was happening in 8 weeks with 143 people. And I can say I did it because I legit did all the sales calls for it. And I was crazy, but I was exhausted and my portion was like this big. Yes. And the worst part was I negotiated the deal. So I was like, not good for me. But my husband said to me, he's like, why are you doing this? Why don't you go do this for yourself? You should be selling for yourself. And I kept thinking, I can't do this. He's like, hold up a mirror. Like, can you not see that you just did this for someone else? Do it for yourself. And he gave me this idea, which is why I love you saying Lady Gaga, is why don't you just make up a pretend client and you go sell for her and it's still you. Yeah. And so I took his advice, but I did one better. I always like to do one better. I became that person that I made up. And I made myself into the person who could sell $85,000 for myself in a month.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And what you said earlier or what I said earlier in your bio is that whole idea of repeat sales on demand. And I remember reaching out to you because I was like, that's a system that I always felt lucky around, I always felt lucky when clients worked with me. And then I realized like, oh, I'm doing certain things that are working. And I think, similar to you, like we talk about the way, we have systems, right? That money comes in, and looking at those numbers, and, whether it's referral or, just sales calls or speaking events or virtual events, like we all have our systems. And then when you finally identify, holy cow, like I've done this 3 times and it worked every time, you really got to own those systems. And I was just so thrilled to work with you about that, because it was very empowering. And, you got to take control, right? Like
absolutely. And if you cannot repeat it, I'm not saying it didn't exist the first time, but we don't know what it is. So you really need to be able to have something you can count on, counting on yourself. That's what I like to help my clients become, is I like to say unfuckwithable. Like you become the person who, like, I know right now, if I need to snap my fingers and make money happen, I can do it. And I'm never having to worry about that. And that's what I want to show people how to do in systems. It really, as a system breaker, I can still say systems are the thing that helps you get where you want to go.
I love that. I love that. So I'm just going to check in with our audience, because I have a feeling that echo might still be happening. It is. Okay. So I'm going to just plug in. Usually I'm just going to do this real quick. It's a little naughty, but hold on 1 second.
I like that you said naughty. I think you mean not like knotted, but I like naughty.
Yeah. So yeah, it's naughty and knotted. I don't know. We're just going to go, whoa. I'm wondering if that's better.
It sounds better on my end.
Oh, great. Okay. Excellent. I hope it works. She's sending me, Sarah's sending me a quick note. So is it fixed? We'll see. There's a little bit of time lag with Facebook, so that's okay. So tell me a little bit, we talk about amplifying and energy and timing, and I saw recently that you have a book coming out. And it was, anticipated for this year, and then something happened. So can you share with people about, what should we call this? I can write on-screen updates. So I can call this energetic shifts in your sales offers.
Yeah, it really was. And I'll have to tell you, so I'll kind of backtrack. About a year ago now, I had this moment where I was like, I kept having this visualization and I kept seeing myself with the book. And after like the 3rd or 4th time, I was like, shit. P.S. I'm allowed to curse, right? I'm allowed to curse. I anoint myself the authority to curse when I want to. I was like, if I don't write this book, it's not going to happen. So it started to come into fruition. So in May, I decided to write my book. I went through a process where I hired a gal to help me speak it out. And then she wrote, and then I was able to rewrite, which P.S. if you think you want to write a book, but the idea of sitting down and writing, like, not so great, hire somebody who you trust and love and speak. And then it was just a wonderful process. So in May, we planned this out. And then I planned out about a year and a half's worth of programs, launches, like specific dates of when things were going to happen. Like we had my entire business for about 18 months tied in, and everything matched with every single thing that needed to happen to like an hour sometimes on everything. Yes. We got down the road. We got to October. I finished the book, had the editor go through it. And it was right at the tag end of October. I had this feeling and I couldn't put my finger on it for a minute. And then I noticed something. So I have to be careful how I say this. Every time I put something out, it sells. People buy it. Whether it's, it's a good thing. Whether it's, if it's like 20 purchases, but it happens. And we had a couple weeks where we put something out and no one bought. And I was like, warning signs, warning signs. And so I felt this energetic thing, and I checked in with my team. I'm like, something is off. We need to make an adjustment. And within an hour, I was able to decide to postpone our book launch. We've actually went from it being in November to now being in about April. Oh, we're actually nailing some timing for that. Yeah. And not only that, I was able to do it without let me say this a different way. It wasn't I didn't disrupt things. We changed everything. Like I changed all of my offers.
Put on the brakes, shift gears. Yeah, I love it.
I pulled a program closer to me. I put something else a little further. Like I was able to adjust it, and we did it. It was from Tuesday at like 11 o'clock until Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And we changed everything. Without going crazy. And I think that's what's really important, because I listened to the energetic shift. We realized there was a missing component. There was a platform building that we needed to do that it just wasn't working the way we thought it would. The funniest thing is, and this is not a surprise to me, but the moment I shifted my energy, oh my goodness. Like I filled an entire mastermind that nobody knows that I have to offer, that I haven't even promoted out in the world that starts in January. Yes. I filled it like that, just snapping my fingers. And we came up with way more creative ideas. And now I've got this great nurture system that I'm using with my clients. And it's just, I know it's helping them and it's helping me. And I feel more excited. And we've gotten to like 5,000 different likes on one of my pages. And like, it was almost overnight, but it really was me being able to see and shift and change so that I can reach more people. Cause that's really what I want you guys to hear. It wasn't about, can I sell more books? Yeah. What I wanted was to actually put the things that I'm doing into people's hands so they can change their lives. And I knew that I wanted to have more people around me to have a better, like, it's really about amplifying your message. It really is.
I love it. Like, super goosebump moment. Like, this is all about, it's all about amplifying your message. And I think that whole alignment piece is huge. Like, I think that, I felt that recently. I was sharing with you, just like letting go of a deadline and shifting it around, maybe creating something new, maybe like it just like, it's just incredible when you allow yourself, you give yourself that permission to stop and say, okay, I got to fix this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was remarkable. Like, my team just easily lined up. It was easier for us to shift things. And what was really fun about it was getting to re-choose what I wanted. Because I think you know this too, when you are at a long look planning, you can get a lot of like projection into things. And I want it to happen in the future, and maybe it'll happen. And when I decided to change everything, I got to reclaim and recall what I wanted. And it was really interesting to me to see what stayed and what left. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I actually pulled things closer to me that I was pushing off and waiting to do. I actually pulled them in closer and did them faster, which was a really cool thing.
Oh, that's incredible. I think more people need to know about this for sure. I know, right? Like, and right now you are hosting a weekly series inside of your Facebook group, the Epic Income Rise. Mm-hmm. And I just love that you're just showing up and kind of like doing some on the spot consulting and about people's offers and changing energetically those shifts and alignments. That's a complimentary service you do to connect with your community. Mm-hmm. I love it. And just a great way to make an impact on many different levels. Yeah. I want to talk to you a little bit about just like the things that happen when you go for something big. So I know that hosting your own event was something that was kind of new for you a few years ago, and now you do an annual event. Yep. Did you find the first time you did that, like you're selling tickets for your own event? How scary was that? What kind of things came up for you? What did you have to deal with when that sort of, that next up level, right?
Yeah, it's so funny. So I am all about epic leaps. Like, that's my thing. I only do big. And what's really good though is I also am tampered by I shoot so far above what I want. I call them sales goals instead of income goals, that I always hit what I need. I like to say, if you want $10,000 and you go for it with the energy of 10,000, maybe you'll get it. But if you want 10 and you go at the energy of 100,000, the chances of you getting that 10 are high. So I have to say, the first time I did a live event, it was almost a wing and a prayer. Like, it was really just, I'm going to believe that it's going to work. And I felt good, and I did fun things. Like, I remember I sold the most tickets when I just went to the Hamptons with some of my girlfriends and played and had fun. But I did something to support myself in having a great success, which was I sold 9 spots into the mastermind that I was going to sell from the stage at the live event before the event ever happened. So I had called in all my money resources before I actually did it. So there was a lower pressure, and it was lots of fun. Interesting thing, the second time around that I did it, I got way into this mode of, now we have to make it bigger. Now we have to change it.
It was a huge success. Like, it broke the internet. Like, that event, I think it was like everybody was talking about it. And I don't know, do you share results about that event?
Absolutely. So here was the fun thing.
People about this event, because like how many people you had, and let's do numbers, because I know you're all about the numbers.
I'm all about numbers. I had about 40 some odd people in the room, and I sold about 36 spots into a program. Like it was almost ridiculous. Basically, everyone who was in the room who could have bought, there were only like 4 or 5 people who didn't.
Oh my goodness.
And I know why it happened was because I nurtured everyone all along the way to getting to the event. Like I had enough time for that. Everyone in the room I made a deep connection with. And I'm a big fan of how you can have small numbers of people and get huge, huge impact. And so that's my thing. That's what I do. And here's where I went off track. Okay. So the next year I was like, oh, well, if this amount of people get me this much money, then I should put 150 people in the room. You won't be surprised to know this. I went off track. I made a decision a few months before the event that like really tweaked and changed things. And it was like when you're out of alignment just a little bit, the next choice you make can be a little more out of alignment and a little more and a little more.
Yes.
And so I gathered together another group of women, about another 40 people were in the room. I will say my energy was off. So who I gathered were lovely, amazing people and just a mismatch to the things I wanted to do. I was also feeling the feels of not filling the room. I hosted the event and it didn't work the way I wanted it. But here's what I want you guys to know. I still reached my income goals because I set a sales goal versus an income goal. I was actually able to gather the right people in the room into a glorious little mastermind and really nurture and support them. But what was more important is after the second event, I realized where I went off track. And that alignment that I put myself back into, I have stayed in for over an entire year. So I want you to really see like you can go off track pretty far. And I'll tell you the difference in the numbers. I pulled about 336,000 from the first event.
Boom. Okay. Just like hold the space for a second. Hold the space. Cause that's incredible, right?
I know it's like, some days I say it, I'm like, 336,000, but it was like, holy shit. And I did it in like 3 days and it was lovely. And my second event, I pulled in about 108. And what was interesting is my first event, the costs were about half of what the second event's costs were. So my profit margin was way down. And again, this is a thing that could have knocked me out of the game. But instead, what I did after the event was I took time to find out what was really going on and what I wanted to change. I created a bunch of new offers. I got into community and connection with people around me. I started serving different people in different ways, and it has just risen my business right up.
I love it. I love that. And that's a huge thing because I think, I always like to look at these things like as failing forward, right? And it's still not a failure. Like it's a success. Like ultimately there are no mistakes. They're all little lessons that we need to learn. And, and Jennifer here says she's loving this conversation. She's all about beautiful alignment and connection. She's saying out there. And absolutely. Like, I think this shift, like, I think that sometimes we're trying so hard to hit these, these goals and, we're not tying it into anything except like this number, right? And maybe there was that missing element, like where, we didn't attach like, maybe the visualization part of it, or like maybe, who are those people and what are they saying? And, what do they look like? And I don't know, are there elements of that too, where,
100%.
Yeah, right. Because you said, the first one was intimate, 50 people or 40 people,
It was fun. The first one, I like bought some sparkly shoes and I was playing and having a good time. I mean, like that. I mean, sparkles. Sparkles are important.
I'm all about the sparkles.
Sparkles the best thing. And then on event number 2, I got into the mode of I need to make the money. And it was weird because it wasn't about making money, but it was about hitting a different goal. So it became a goal hitting. Like event number 1 was service, love, transformation, amplification of who I am and my clients. And event number 2 was, okay, we do an annual event and now it's got to be bigger and better. And it was a totally different energy. And it was funny because like even the venue created a different energy. So what I did differently this year was I really decided to go back to my roots of what feels good. And nobody even knows I had this. I've been doing a lot behind the scenes, but I gathered 10 amazing women into a really intimate group for 2 days and gave them the love and attention and support that I usually do in a larger event, and brought all these people into my new program. And it was a lovely, lovely experience. And what was also really fun, 65,000 for event number 2 to bring in 108. The little mini, not quite an event this year with a retreat for 2 days cost me $4,500. And I actually like went really luxurious with things.
Yeah.
And I pulled directly 78,000 from that room. And there's about 3 more people who will be connecting with that I sense it's probably going to go well over the 6-figure mark. So
Yes.
be in alignment.
Yes.
It makes life so much better and so much easier.
I love that. I just, and you mentioned something too about fun. Like fun.
Yes.
This is like incredibly powerful when you think about, are you having fun in your business? And I think that's part of that alignment thing, right?
Mhm.
Like I know in hosting this workshop I just created out of thin air like this weekend, if you're birthing your book in 2019, like just a 6-hour like intimate workshop and in person and around in the trees and art and like so inspired. And I was like, man, like I'm just like loving this place. I have to share it with people. And instantly, like I have like 8 people that were just like hands up, like I want to sign up. Like tell me, I don't even have a sales page yet. Like
and you won't even need one.
Right? Like so I love that about the whole idea of like having fun and flow, redirecting, reshifting. And that's just so powerful. And I love that you shared those numbers and just how that kind of works, right? Like yeah, no, that's incredible. And so for those that I'm sure they come to you and they're probably, and I love that you shared this, but if people are coming to you and they're like fixed on the numbers like that and sort of out of alignment, are there some quick shifts that you can recommend that they take, like just to kind of, snap out of it? Is there,
it's so funny. Almost every single thing I sell is high ticket. And part of why I sell high ticket is because sometimes what I tell my clients to do is go take a nap instead of doing more sales calls. And it is hard because we are overachievers. Yes. Reformed overachiever. Your energy is the most important thing, bar none. And I mean that even above mindset, because your energy really puts forth. And what do I mean by energy? I mean, this is your attitude and how you feel. And I don't mean being positive all the time. I mean, being in command of how you feel and what you're doing. It is okay to feel sad. It is okay to feel down. Yes. If you are a quiet person, powerful, quiet energy is your way. I'm usually like, yay! I'm a very loud, like boisterous person. But when you are lined up with your energy, all the stuff that you need to do will shift. So if you're caught up and you're rigid in your numbers, the most important thing you can do is chill out. Number 1 is chill out. What I also like to do is I come up with like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ways to hit a number so that I don't have to have pressure on any one of those ones working.
Ooh, love it.
And the other thing is most people actually set their numbers too low, not too high, which is interesting because I do have a few people who come to me and they have big, but more often than not is we've got caught on them. And what I like to do is have people come up with good, better, best. Good is I'm going to hit this number if I just do so. Like you're going to put 6 or 8 people in your little workshop, no matter what.
Yeah.
Better would probably be 12. Yeah. Best would be like 15. So here's what's awesome. When you hit better, you get to celebrate and feel good and you'll keep going to 12. When you hit best, you're going to celebrate and keep going. You'll get all the way up there. But what happens is most people will set like $100,000 goal and they haven't given themselves little tiers in the middle to keep themselves going. So what I always like to do is I stretch my goal super, super big, way bigger than I need it to be. So I get excited about it and pulled into it and I go at it with awesome energy. It's not pressure. And then I create little benchmark goals. So when I hit the little ones, I celebrate myself up into the next one.
Amazing. I love that so much. And I think that's the whole energy piece. I know I joke about this sometimes, like when I book a day or a half day at the spa, like I make money the next day or that night. Like I just like, you turn it off for a little while, you come back and your energy has rebounded. So maybe, that costs a couple $100, to take that time out and a couple hours of work, but then you come back and the flow and alignment's there again. And so yeah, incredibly, incredibly powerful. I love it. I love it. And you mentioned something too about celebrating. And that's something, I personally struggled with a little bit. I used to be able to like, I'm going to celebrate. And then I lost it for a little while, launched my book and forgot to like plan a launch party. Like I was like, oh God, right? Like, I know, right? So would you have any advice for people? Like I'm like in my workshop, one of the things in the workshop is that we're going to pick our launch dates for the people birthing the book, right? Because I was like, holy crap, that was like the thing I kept at the end. I was like, oh, no one's going to come to my, like one, mental talk. Yeah. So how do you celebrate?
I celebrate all the freaking time with everything big and small. And P.S., this was not my normal mode. I've just gotten into it. It's funny you say that because how I was going to launch my book, the first thing I planned was the book launch party. I said to my husband the other day when I was doing my little 2-day workshop was I almost, in a little way, I felt guilty for a hot second. And then I remembered we retired him. He's living his best life ever too. But I feel for me, work is just like going in play. So when I do host a retreat, I always get bubbly and wine and good food and even some non-alcoholic beverages if people feel like that's their route too. But we always make sure there's an evening of celebration. So you can do it big, you can do it small. But I know this, every time I celebrate anything, it boosts my energy and it takes me to the next level. So also remember what's good for you is different for somebody else. Like I don't love getting my nails done, obviously. So going to sit and get my nails done is torture. So I don't celebrate doing that. For me, celebration can be like buying a pair of sweatpants because they're comfy. But celebration can be anything. But I highly recommend that you put it in. I insist that when my clients show up, the first thing I always ask them is, what's going well?
Yeah.
What are you working on and what do you need support with? We always start with what's going well because that energy is the energy you want to build from.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we're just on the half power hour. So I want to invite everyone to check out Laura's Facebook group, the Epic Income Rise. You can connect with her there, especially on Monday mornings, which I love. And just to keep an eye on this woman, if you are thinking about owning in on your sales process and taking those epic leaps, I really recommend Laura, changed my business completely working with her and seeing it in a new way. And I want to celebrate too in encouraging you to check out Ready to Amplify. So this is my new book that goes hand in hand with sales, Try Visibility Impact. So it's a 7-day pocket guide geared to design your own systems out of alignment and energy that feel good when it comes to content creation. So little systems, little things you can do over 7 days, like just little things that we put to the test with a group of people, and they were reporting amazing successes. And it's all about owning your systems, owning your asks, and really stepping out into a bigger spotlight to make a bigger impact. And that's, if you are a go-to expert, a service-based entrepreneur, this is the book at leifowler.com/book. You can check out the book trailer there. And, just want to thank everyone. Like this whole interview series, if you share it, if you tell people about it, we're really diving into behind the scenes of what it takes to take those next levels to step into a bigger spotlight and amplify. So thank you, Laura, so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. And please check out Leigh's stuff. She is brilliant. She understands how to help you do things your way so you can actually get your voice out there. And I'm honored to be connected to you, my dear.
Oh, I love it. Love it. So many good things. All right, everyone, signing off. Have a great morning and a great week. Talk to you later. Thanks,
Bye,
Laura.
everyone.
Bye.